Suspend your disbelief, your rational, analytic mind, just for a minute, just for the length of this podcast. What if all I am about to tell you is the truth? What if the information you will be provided is from a divine source? Just for this time, I am your Axis Mundi. Consider this podcast your channel, your second opinion. When I do a reading, something larger than myself is working through me. So ask what you wish. This is your channel, your doorway to the divine. Welcome to JohnsTarot. Welcome to you from wherever you may be listening to this podcast. Welcome to you from Russia, Colombia, California, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Washington, Delaware, New York. Welcome to JohnsTarot. Thank you. This week I'm going to continue with my series on the general health of our chief executive. And the last couple of weeks I've been focused. I submitted his symptoms into AI, and I got some interesting feedback. If you care to look at that, my past episodes, I have it up there. And if you would like a copy of my differential diagnosis and his symptoms, contact me. I'll send them to you. It's not a big deal. I'll email them out to you. So the symptom I'm going to talk about today is confabulation. So our chief executive has been confabulating. And confabulating means essentially pulling out things out of his demented imagination and making policy out of them. And that's ridiculous, a ridiculous thing to do. And then people in I'll call them the bobbleheads, people in the Republican Party, our news media, and his cult. Well, I'll go, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, that's true. And it's just some insane stuff. So I'm going to start, I have a couple little videos, and we're going to start doing that. So let me move over to my video. My first video is going to be on his idea about Alcatraz. And I have a little video about that. And we're going to have some fun with this along the way. I'm going to do a little commentary as well.
Alcatraz. Can you walk us through that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz. How will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I...
Look at that woman over there on his left. She's covering her mouth like, oh my God, they told me he would be medicated. And then we got a bobbleheaded guy on his right shoulder. He just turned 3 shades of red. And he was like, Jesus Christ, no.
Supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making, and we'll end. I mean,
with that woman on the right, she, I hope nobody I know was watching us. And he's going to turn to that fella on the right, the bobbleheaded guy on the right. And he is going to turn a red so dark, so red, that you could fry an egg on him. Watch.
It represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not.
All right, let me read a bit of this article. Trump officials tour Alcatraz in bid to reopen prison amid outcry from California leaders. The president's proposal to reopen Alcatraz, which closed in 1963 due to a steep operating cost, is now a National Park Service museum. Reopening the prison would be an enormous logistical and financial undertaking. The facility, known for its brutal conditions and escape attempts, closed because of its operating costs, were 3 times more than any other federal prison due to its physical isolation, and millions of dollars were needed for restoration, and that was in 1963 dollars. While in operation, nearly 1 million gallons of water were transported to the island each week, according to the Bureau of Prisons. So to open up Alcatraz and as a operating prison again, he would need to really, the only way to do it is you're going to have to raise it to the ground and start over. And whatever, and put in a desalination plant, and it's going to be a real expensive operation. Now he has his alligator Alcatraz, right? A much cheaper thing than reopening Alcatraz. I don't know why he doesn't consider that, but it's just another example of confabulation, of him making things up, and you can see his staff behind him completely freaking out. My next thing is going to be my next video is on Gaza. So let's take a look.
I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in, but having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that.
Plenty of countries that'll do that. Yeah, like who? You want to bring them over here, maybe? And then the bobbleheads. All right, now let's take a look at what the world thinks of our chief executive's plan. Trump's Riviera of the Middle East plan fundamentally misreads the Arab world. And I'll read a little bit of the article. In the lead up to the 2024 elections, then U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump touted his commitment to bring peace to the Middle East. Earlier this month, in a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, you should have seen Benjamin Netanyahu when he floated this idea. He rolled his eyes. President Trump presented his real ambition for the territory, the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian population to develop Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East. He called on Egypt and Jordan in particular to absorb the displaced population. While the United States would own the seaside territory, a Fox News interview, Trump further clarified that the relocation of the Palestinians would be permanent, with no right of return. Unsurprisingly, international partners have firmly denounced the proposal. The Geneva Convention forbids mass forcible transfers from occupied territories, which can amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity under international law. Globally, many of America's closest allies expressed their complete rejection of the idea, including the United Kingdom, Germany, France, and many others. But it was within the Arab world itself that opposition was clearest. Yeah, so he wants to put in American troops in order to keep peace in Gaza? Is that his idea? I don't really think that's such a good idea. So let me move on to my next video. This is more, it's just confabulation. Let me move on to my next example of confabulation, and that is, on drug prices. This is a gem.
It'll be numbers that nobody can even imagine. We're going to get the drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60. No, we're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%. Numbers that are not even thought to be achievable because I've used a certain talent that I have.
And that's our news media, the Republican Party, and his cult. Harump, harump, harump. He has this certain talent that only he has. It's called magical thinking. It's more confabulation. On prescription drug costs, Trump flunks arithmetic in embarrassing fashion. If he were to get drug prices down 1,500%, that means the drug companies would be paying us to take their products. I just don't see him doing that. But let me move on to, but he did pass an executive order. Let me move on to that and see what kind of chance that has. Trump signs executive order to reduce U.S. drug prices with most favored nation status. Policy and CMS establishes pricing targets. On May 12th, President Trump signed an executive order entitled Delivering Most Favored Nation Prescription Drug Pricing to American Patients. At the core of it's an executive order. It's not a law. It's not a policy. It's an executive order. It's a commitment to most favored nation status pricing for drugs sold in the United States. Under MFN pricing, Americans would pay no more for prescription drugs than the lowest prices for which those drugs are sold in other developed countries. It sounds good on the surface. The potential impact of the order on U.S. drug prices remains uncertain. Experts are divided. Critics contend that drug manufacturers may simply raise drug prices in the targeted countries to align with U.S. prices, and that there is no enforcement mechanism for drug manufacturers who do not voluntarily change their prices. So it has no teeth, and it has no place in reality. It's just more confabulation. My next one is on think tanks. Oh, and this is another beauty. You gotta see this.
And he has these think tanks, and they build buildings for people that think, and it's really not thinking. It's a little bit of combination of thinking, but it's something you sort of have or you don't have. They don't. The job he's done is.
Think tanks. Donald Trump dementia fears spike as president claims think tanks are in actual tanks. President Donald Trump appeared to suggest that think tanks involve physical tanks in a mind-blowing statement Tuesday that has again raised concerns about whether he has dementia. Think tanks are groups of people that come together and collaborate on ideas. It can be done at universities, at corporations. It's just a group of people that come together. It's not a tank. It's not a separate building. That is confabulation. That comes out of his demented imagination. Okay, for our next one, this was his, the last one is on his uncle and the Unabomber, Kaczynski. So it's another good video.
Although my uncle was at MIT, one of the great professors, 51 years, whatever, he was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, 3 degrees in nuclear, chemical, and math. That's a smart man. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? There's very little difference between a madman and a genius. But Kaczynski, I said, what kind of a student was he, Uncle John, Dr. John Trump? He said, what kind of a student? And he said, seriously good. He said he'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out too well for him.
And that's what everybody's been doing. Hurrah. We're a bunch of bobbleheads. Now, I'm not a bobblehead. Let me look at the article and fact check. Trump tells fictional story about his uncle and the Unabomber. Trump was speaking at a Pennsylvania event about energy and innovation when he said he had to brag for a second about his uncle's intelligence after wrongly saying his uncle was the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT. He was one of the longest-serving, but not the very longest, and wrongly saying his uncle's 3 university degrees were in nuclear, chemical, and math. And as far as degrees, a rectal thermometer has degrees, and you know where they put that. And was that the president claimed Kaczynski was one of his students. First, the president's uncle died in 1985. Kaczynski was publicly revealed as the Unabomber more than a decade later, in 1996, when he was captured. Before that, he lived as a recluse in the Montana wilderness. There is no apparent reason that Donald Trump would have been asking anyone about Kaczynski in 1985 or earlier. So again, it's just confabulation. And like I said about the rectal thermometer, they have degrees too, and you know where they put those. So let me wrap this up. I especially want to get the attention of my Russian audience, as well as my American audience, who are already awake or who are on the verge of awakening. We are aware that the oligarchs of the world, both Russian and American, have compromising evidence on our chief executive. We know he is owned, and we suspect he is afraid. These oligarchs knew who he was and used him anyway to distract us while he did their bidding, to rewrite tax codes for the wealthy, to deregulate protection for workers, women, and the planet. Now it seems he has become a liability. Even the Wall Street Journal, who has protected him for years, is now printing unfavorable stories about him. These oligarchs want a smoother puppet, one who won't blurt out classified secrets in a fit of rage, so they are letting him burn. So how did this rascal survive his multiple scandals? Through weaponized disinformation. He didn't manage his meteoric rise alone. He was amplified and guided by a machine that feeds off of chaos. Russian troll farms, Cambridge Analytica, state propaganda networks, billionaire-funded media, Fox News, Facebook algorithms. When under attack, his scripted defense has always been the same. Denial, deflection, projection, that's to accuse others of doing the things he's doing. Normalization, say, oh, everybody does it. Reversal, where he becomes a victim. And he's doing it right now. Currently, he is cornered, which makes him more dangerous than ever. We can expect he will burn everything to save himself. He will start wars. He will call for violence. He will scream and cry victim. Anything to avoid accountability. This piece today was just to let you know we are aware. At least many of us are aware. So be prepared. This is going to get bumpy. It's going to be a rough ride. The question is, what can we do about it? Just being aware of the truth is a start. Speaking the truth when asked. But it's no use antagonizing the cult for no good reason. I am just going to let things play out. I think his health will finish him off. So watch and be aware, and don't be a bobblehead. Let me move over to my tarot cam. So let me move over to my tarot cam. I'm only going to use the runes if I have a question for about a particular card. I'll use it for clarification. So what kind of good question? Let's go ahead and shuffle the deck. My ability to read tarot is a gift, an expression of divine love. And I'm here to share it with you in that same spirit. So what am I going to... Let's see. What's a good question to ask? In terms of his general energy, and I really don't think he's going to be prosecuted for any of this Epstein stuff. I don't think his health is going to allow that to happen. But in terms of the global energy that's been put into him, what kind of energy is currently surrounding him? How about that? In terms of the energy that's been put into him in the past, what is his current position? So let me do it. There we go. The first card is the Hermit. The second card covering the Hermit is the Queen of Wands. The foundation is the Three of Wands. In the recent past is the Fool. Crowning him is the Five of Wands. And the energy in the immediate future, King of Cups. I'm going to have to just move all these over here a little bit so it's all going to fit. And then what's coming up, current position or attitude, the Lovers. Environment or surrounding energy is the Four, I like that one, the Four of Cups. This one is hopes and fears, justice. I'm not surprised. The current energy that surprised him. And then, this was an intense reading. And then the final outcome is the Nine of Swords. I have to move these over a little bit so we can all see them. Give me a second here. All right, it's not over far enough. There we go. That's a little better. So the Hermit, that is where he currently is. That's his current position, heart of the matter. So he's come a long way. He's a hermit, but he's come a long way. He's overcome many obstacles, which is quite clear. But the hermit is also, he's isolated, is where he is right now. He doesn't have the support he used to have right now. He's isolated and surrounded by his sycophants that he has with him in the White House. And I don't really think these people are cabinet members. I think they're more caregivers as they surround him and protect him. So I don't see it as a card of wisdom. I see it a card of being isolated. The Queen of Wands. the energy what's on top of him. How can I say this? We have that crosses you, obstacles. He's always wanted to be successful. He's also always wanted to be famous. He also always wanted to have that limelight shined upon him. He's always desired that. He's always wanted that. And that is an obstacle as he is he's not getting such good press right now. People keep asking questions that he is not comfortable with. And it's a problem for him right now. And then the right below him in the recent past, or the foundation where this began, we have the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands, we see a guy standing there looking out into the ocean. He's waiting for a ship to come in. So the foundation of this, he's waiting for the outcomes of certain bits of information. It could be the Epstein stuff, waiting for Ghislaine Maxwell to make a deal. It could be, is there information out there that can implicate him? He's waiting for an outcome. Is he going to receive the backing he's always received from those places that I mentioned? The Russian troll farms and Facebook algorithms. Is he going to receive that same type of backing he's always received? So he's waiting to see if that stuff is going to continue to help him. And the Fool, that's in the recent past. The Fool is somebody who he carelessly engages on a journey, and you'll see the Fool there. He's got a dog at his feet. Tell him be careful as he's about to step over a cliff. That's because he is mindless of the dangers that are ahead of him, and the dog is trying to warn him. And in Trump's recent past, he has certainly been the Fool. He would have been better off keeping a low profile, but he never did. He engaged on his journey without properly thinking it through, and now things are starting to come to fruition. On the Five of Wands, that is the energy that crowns him right now, energy that's coming into the near future, or that is manifesting right now. I think all those chaos. Whenever I see those people like that, with all the people with wands, that's chaos. He is surrounded by chaos right now, and that is the energy he is surrounded by right now. There's so much chaos with his staff, with his cabinet, with the news media. Everything is chaotic right now. And then energy coming into the near future is we have the King of Cups. So the King of Cups has been somebody who is a master of integrity and master of emotional integrity. And I'm just wondering if his integrity is now, or lack of integrity, is now coming to light. And it's not the way it used to be. I'm going to move these cards up a little bit. So where he is right now, we have the Lovers. The Lovers. It's a choice that has to do with current position or attitude. He's being faced with a choice. He's going to have to make a choice. I'm not sure what his choice is, but he has been offered a choice, a choice to do this in exchange for something. He's being offered a deal. Some kind of choice is right there in front of him, and that's what he's being offered. I don't know whether the choice to continue as you are or to move in a new direction, but he's being offered a choice. The Lovers is about choice. And then the card, the one right above there, is the Four of Cups, and that is the environment and current energy. So the current energy and environment, we've been that's us, that's the American people. We've been very dissatisfied, at least I have, with the way he's operated this thing. And then you see the hand with the cup coming from the outside, but there's new information coming, and we just have to be patient and wait for the new information to appear. Hopes and fears. Funny that the Justice card came out on this, and I don't stack these decks. You see, I shuffle them. the Justice card. So karma is coming into play. There's going to be no escaping. There's never escaping karma. I was wondering when that would come up for him, because he has avoided any kind of culpability for his entire life. But apparently the bill is going to come due justice. Now, justice is not a problem if you've led a life full of integrity and done good works. But I just don't believe that he's had that type of life. So karma is going to come due. And then final outcome, the 9 of Swords, that has to do with anxiety, stress. So he's you can expect that when the Justice card comes due, he is going to have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and a lot of worry. That's what's coming up in his future. So I think for today, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. I don't know if that one got in there. I hope it did. And I want to let you all know I have a Facebook page. So if you want to view me on Facebook, drop me a note, drop me a letter. Let me know if you would like to be. I'm also on JohnsTarot.net. And up there, I also post my Tuesday. I'm putting up a Tuesday podcast only. And you can find it there, or you can find it on your podcast app of choice. The same thing, John's Tarot. And what else we got going on? If you'd like to be interviewed, let me know. Send me a little email, or contact me through Facebook or through my email, john@johnstarot.net, and we'll set you up for an interview. So for now, be careful, be cool, be kind, and remember, find courage, have faith, and I will see you all again next week. All right, bye-bye.